Steve Luttmann is the managing director for Tortoise and Volt Marketing. He's the founder of Leblon Cachaca, the leading super premium Brazilian craft spirit, distributed in over 40 countries, and not long ago was acquired by Bacardi. He's a seasoned consumer packaged goods marketing executive in consumer packaged goods and in this industry, and he's worked on such brands as Lipton, Grand Marnier, Bertolli, and Ruffino Wine. And while there are many recently, or some, Cachaça brands on the market, while there were many before Leblon and many after Leblon, unarguably, Leblon has set the pace and tone for the Cachaça category.
2005, I had the midlife crisis. Arguably, it's continued to this day. But I married a Brazilian and started a spirits company, in literally that order. And I will tell you, especially walking the halls downstairs, it makes you realize how crazy you have to be to start a spirits brand. I mean, that's the first place you start out. But I will tell you, I have some hindsight now and can look somewhat objectively at this. In 2005, there were some key challenges with the what people would call the Cachaca category in that day. The caipirinha was a little bit difficult to pronounce. Nobody knew what the hell it was. People referred to cachaça as Brazilian rum. And apparently Buenos Aires was the capital of Brazil in Spanish. So that was my starting point. I remember the first time we got the bottles in and you get all excited. You go to your first bar. It was like over on West 26th or 27th Street when that was like a happening bar in town. And I went to my first bar, put the bottle up, and gave my little pitch, and the man said, "That was a great presentation. This ain't gonna work, son. You need a job." That was my start. The strategy that we used at Leblon, we always called the sentence strategy. And brands create categories, and we needed to create a brand, and a brand is a sentence. And the sentence we wanted to say is, drink Leblon Cachaça, drink Leblon Caipirinhas. And that was our strategy. And we use this little metaphor here of the noun, verb, and punctuation. And it's a really simple way to think of the strategy, to really dumb it down. Really simply, the noun is the distribution, the verb is what you do, the experiential, and the punctuation is more or less the content and the buzz you create. And I would say the first thing that we did is we hired great people, and a lot of them. Because it's a very much of a hand sell, especially if you're creating a category. There's a lot of education, and it's all about building it in the on-premise and getting it, liquor to lips to the consumer. And the noun was feet on the street. We have a couple of friends here that were doing it day in, day out. 50 to 60 accounts on your Salesforce.com focus list. Getting the media plan was the bar menu. When you get the bar menu, the staff knows your drink. They certainly can say cachaça and caipirinha or whatever the cocktail is, and you get some advocacy for the brand. So our strategy, first and foremost, was our Leblon Equipe, the noun, distribution, working very well with our distributors, and getting visible in those accounts. So that was the noun. The verb was then what do we do with it? And that was a lot of experiential events you guys saw our Caipirinha bar, our Leblon Caipirinhas bar, muddling away at tons of events, and we certainly sampled the hell out of this brand in the off-premise. So a ton of experiential. And then the third part was kind of the most important part, which is really the content. Because if you have a great team and you're doing a lot of events, you need content. You need to say something. And that's really what I'll go through and tell you guys, what our experience, what our content is or was, and how it helped us at least start this category. I wouldn't say we created it because we have a lot of other brother brands in the audience that helped us create this category. So starting point, this was real cachaça. Let's do it together. Cachaça, caipirinha, Brazil, like rum, not. That was the first thing we had to do. I mean, you guys remember when we were starting, there was no discussion about Live, Love, Leblon or anything. You had to start here. But then once we got that, we could get to our brand. We were very meticulous in building our brand. I'm a big fan of wine and spirits because wine and spirits for me are all about travel. I had the pleasure of working on Ruffino and Chianti and traveling to Italy, and always thought, what a great way to get to Italy, just have a bottle of Chianti. Go to Mexico through Patron, go to Japan through a nice sake, go to Brazil through a caipirinha, and that was our goal. Brazil in the bottle, come to Leblon, have a caipirinha, live, love Leblon. I could talk ad nauseum about how we built the brand, the Pantone 382, why the color was very efficient, but that was key. The brand is really the portal in terms of how the consumer is going to engage this wonderful country of Brazil in this category. So that goes without saying. So there's 5 major punctuations that we had during our 10-year stint, 12 years. And I would say the first one, which I think many of you may remember, was in 2007, was our Legalize Cachaça campaign. And it was very clear early on this category had a problem, which was called Brazilian rum. And we need to very quickly separate it from Brazilian rum and get people to recognize it as cachaça, both legally, but more importantly, from a consumer, bartender trade standpoint. So we created a little revolution. We signed we declared the Cachaça Declaration of Independence from rum. We had kind of 2 aspects of it. We had the military aspect of it, which is our people going out, the bartenders with our Leblon Legalized Cachaça petition, getting people to sign it, declaring independence. But then we actually had the real lobbyist end of it, where we actually petitioned the TTB and John Manfreda with the Brazilian government and put a lot of pressure on them using our petition to get the TTB to recognize cachaça as the official spirit of Brazil, and that eventually happened. So the nice thing about that, it was just a great tool for us, to drive this truck in front of an off-premise store, an on-premise store, get our people, stopping people in the street saying, "Hi, we'd just like to sign our petition to legalize cachaça." And the reaction you get is, "Sure, what's cachaça?" And then you go into the pitch, get them in the store, they do a tasting. So that was legalized cachaça. From there, we went to how to be a Brazilian, and it's the 10 things you need to know how to be a Brazilian. So I'll pass this around so you guys can take a look. Very simple concept. I don't even remember what it went. Everything from futebol to how to make do a Brazilian churrasco, the jeito brasileiro, how to be a Brazilian, and it was just fun. And obviously, shared some caipirinha and some cachaça recipes on the way. So after we kind of established this legalized cachaça, the next thing was how to be a Brazilian, and that was one of our initiatives. I think that was in 2010. And then after people became familiar with not only the category but how to be a Brazilian, next came how do you use the stuff? What can you do with cachaça? And that's where we really focused on the art of cachaça. And that was great content because there was a lot we could do with this idea. We did a lot of art of cachaça classes, which was just a great way to engage people. And obviously we'd start out how to make a caipirinha, but then we would go from there. So that was like our third major initiative. After that, you guys remember that thing that happened in 2014 and 2016? So we got FIFA to do the World Cup in Brazil, and we also convinced the Olympics to happen in Rio. And so we did our road trip to Rio, which was essentially a road trip to Rio. So we had this little VW microbus. We had one in the U.S., one in Europe, and one in Brazil. And we literally visited 77 cities driving that damn thing. And it did break down a lot, in case you were wondering. And we did it for a charity, for a particular school in the favelas in Rio, in Rocinha. Raised a lot of money. And basically, I think it was 30, I can't remember how many bartenders that raised the most money for the charity got to go to the World Cup and then the Olympics. And that was, Sao Paulo, we go to the distillery, and then we go to Rio. So that was a nice program, got the community involved, and certainly got a lot of word of mouth. And then the last thing that we did, certainly a lot of, which helped with education, it's kind of a no-brainer, is distillery tours.